to have a conversation with Marcello Palazzi. Thank you, Marcello, for being here today with us. Marcello is a social entrepreneur. His foundation, Progression, has completed more than 300 entrepreneurial projects and initiatives in more than 33 countries. He's also co-founder and global ambassador of BLAB. We are going to talk about entrepreneurship, ethical values, and the urgent agenda to transform our businesses and economy. Thank you, Marcello.
Thank you, Cristina.
How do entrepreneurship and ethical values work together to promote human progress?
So, when I started Progressio 32 years ago, I looked for the language, and for me the language came from Aristotle, a Greek philosophy. It's on the one hand is oikonomia, the good management of the household, which today is the management or good management of the planet and the world, the globe. And secondly, eudaimonia, which is about well-being, human well-being. So I kind of translated those into what I call the civic economy, because at the heart of civic is citizens, is communities. So economy, at its essence, needs to serve communities and citizens. So the connection with ethical values is that the moment you talk about citizens and people and communities, it's about basically providing well-being for people and planet. The planet doesn't need us, but we need the planet to be able to survive. So we also need to be able to have reverence and respect for the planet. So this is, for me, the conjunction.
You defend an urgent agenda to regenerate our planet. How can firms and the economy be transformed towards a regenerative system?
Regeneration goes beyond sustainability. So the real need is to regenerate, is to replenish, to rebuild, not only because nature needs to be respected and rebuilt, but also because we need nature and we need to survive. So regeneration is a big word, and it's also meant to be regenerating our systems, our laws, our institutions, regenerate our fiscal systems, our universities, because this is like a civilizational transformation. We need to really build a new civilization, and so it's a big thing. And so we need to rethink and redesign a lot of the systems and the frameworks within which we work. Is how the economic system and businesses need to regenerate as part of this wider regenerative transformation.
Okay, talking about this, how do you think firms, organizations can contribute to that? For example, how can they contribute to objectives such as eradicating poverty, preserving ecosystems, or building strong communities? How do you think organizations can contribute to that?
In terms of language, organizations may include also other than businesses. So it's clear that, of course, not-for-profits, philanthropy,
yes,
they are, at least per definition, already doing good. They exist to do good. Business, because the assumption is this for profit, and that the profit motive can often obscure or in a way negate the other objectives. That's the real question, and this is also why we started, me and my colleagues started the B Corp movement, which is about companies that for benefit, for profit, but also for benefit. In other words, positive impact.
What values would define a leader that is able to balance the challenge of climate emergency, climate change, and at the same time, the economical transformation that it requires?
So I use sometimes a slide which has the two photos. One is Steve Jobs and one is Jane Goodall. And I say, you have to be both. So you have to be very entrepreneurial, very creative. At the same time, you have to be aware and understand and know and be sensitive enough to these sort of human, social, environmental challenges.
Thank you, Marcello. One more question. What do you think would be the role of business schools like ours in the training or education of this type of professionals?
The real role is to be ahead, a little bit ahead. You don't want to be too ahead of this transformation. The transformation is the shift from a kind of extractive economic system, capitalism, to a regenerative system. So you want to be in that journey, take leadership and have the courage to do that. I think the real challenge is to have a renewal process. So you have younger staff, make it a bit easier sometimes to hire people, because you always have to have a PhD and all these kind of academic credentials. They are important, but they're not enough. And existing faculty needs to also regenerate. You need the ecosystem, not only the professors, but also the alumni and the case studies, the companies, and also, of course, learning today is not just sitting and reading a book or listening to a lecture. It's about doing things, it's about working. So working, provide internships for students, be actively doing projects towards a regenerative economy with cities. Barcelona now wants to be a Barcelona must be, work with your city, etc., etc. So it's really that ecosystem, the systemic approach that can make a huge difference.
Thank you very much, Marcello, for inspiring us to continue working for a more humane societies and for the regenerative systems. Thank you.